Hey you guys, it's Jace and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite characters in YA. So I would have all the books that have these characters, but there's a lot of them. Well, not a lot, but it's just a lot of books to dig out. So I'm just going to put the covers or the pictures of those set of characters somewhere in the screen here. Hopefully we can find some nice pictures of them. If not, then we'll just imagine what they look like. It's fine. But before I get into more babbling, let's just jump right into the video. So the first character on this list is one from a kind of cult favorite from the booktube in the Tumblr world. We just got a companion series to it, and that is a companion series to the original story, and that is Noah Elliott Shaw from the Mara Dyer trilogy. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Noah is kind of like this bad boy, really smart, smokes a lot, kind of like this really attractive man who gets under Mara's skin and just kind of gets in the good way, I guess, and they end up having a relationship throughout the series. And there's just a lot for me to like about him. One, his name is just so aesthetically pleasing. Noah Elliott Simon Shaw. His name is just so aesthetically pleasing. It just rolls right off the tongue. And on top of that, he's while he's this asshole, he's an asshole with a reason. And you can't get any better than that. And he wears his necktie loose, and he's really sweet to Mara. And I can't even begin to explain it. He's just one of my favorite characters of all time. And I will read The Becoming of Noah Shaw when I get the chance, despite everyone kind of giving it iffy reviews. It's Noah. Who doesn't love Noah? Come on. If you've read the books, you will know why everyone loves Noah. And if you haven't read the books, read the books, and then you will know why everyone loves Noah. And it'll be a grand old time. So the next set of characters on this list is all the characters from the Infernal Devices. Well, actually, the main three. No, all of them. I just love all of them, and their faces are just going to cover this entire picture. Also, all copyright to any artist or any artist's work is that, because I can't draw. So, just all the work that I am posting here is not mine. Let's just leave it there. But I just love them all because their dynamics are so beautiful. Who doesn't love hair and gray stairs? And just, I aspire to have a love triangle that isn't a love triangle, but it is a love triangle that is like hair and gray stairs. You can't go wrong with hair and gray stairs. Then there's Charlotte, and there's Jess, and Gabriel and Gideon Lightwood, and who doesn't love that? And then the Demon Pox song, and I love them just so much. How can you just not like these cast of characters? If you don't like Cassandra Clare's writing, you should find a way to like the Infernal Devices, because hands down, probably one of my favorite works by her. One of them. The next cast of characters is the entire inner circle from A Court of Thorn and Roses. Now, these guys don't show up until the second book, and they become a really big part in the third book, and by then I'm just kind of sobbing on the ground because they deserve so much better. They deserve the world and a half, and their characterization is so wonderful. The stories that we get from them and their personalities are so great. Much like the Infernal Devices, I aspire to have a cast of characters who are so close-knit and so willing to protect one another, and so tough and so emotionally open and just wonderful this cast is. And I'm really excited because I thought that we were supposed to be done at the Court of A Court of Wings and Ruin. I don't know why I forgot the word. A Court of Wings of Ruin. But Sarah J. Maas just announced the next chapter of the series, and it's I'm emotional and I need a moment. So the next character is Alec Lightwood from The Mortal Instruments. And for those of you guys who don't know, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this already in my favorite series of all time or books of all time. But I heavily relate to Alec in terms of kind of his struggle and his personality and much like that. However, in even in the series, the Shadowhunter series, I relate to that Alec so heavily. And I think he is a very good basis of just something that a lot of LGBT youth should watch in terms of his progression and his personality, and how all this stuff can be internalized even with yourself. And on top of that, the show version of Alec kicks book Alec's butt, and it's like in a good and a bad way, because like Alec was written during a time when all this stuff was kind of unknown and whatnot, and we see him kind of get in there, like get to an understanding of that. But Shadowhunter's Alec already kind of is present day, not 2007, 8ish. So we get to see him kind of, his understanding and his capabilities and his patience is a lot different than 18-year-old Alec, because he's 21 or 20 something in this show. So, but like I said, I just relate to him so much. Aside from like his own struggle as coming out, he's also the eldest sibling of 3 and high expectations. And I'm just gonna stop babbling because Alec Lightwood gets me emotional as well. So the next character on this list is Cleo Marton from the Balefire series. She is half of the twin, and she's kind of the more seductive, the more open to like darkness kind of twin, which I'm all about. And she's also very willing, she knows herself, and she's very willing to do what it takes to get what she wants. She's also shown to have a bit of a soft side, but it doesn't come out too much. And on top of that, she is very rebellious. She thinks the world of her own powers, and she kind of takes what has happened to her and her discovery of having a twin in stride. And I adore her. She's like one of my favorite, like the Balefire series is one of my favorite go-to books to reread when I'm in a reading slump or I'm bored or just want something to read. And I just adore Cleo. Like every time I see her on the page, I'm like, Cleo, yes, yes. So I can't even begin to talk about how much I adore Cleo. Next character on this list is making me realize I probably should have put this in order, but it's not in order. And I probably should have clumped the people that were in like the similar series together, but I didn't. And that is Jace Herondale from the Mortal Instruments. So I absolutely adore kind of like Jace is just this sassy kind of asshole that you can't help but love. And like I said, he's this sassy asshole who you adore and you just want to see more of. And after you realize the kind of person he is, you just want to protect him so much. And I think that kind of both the movie and the TV show depict him very well, or like well enough that we get to see this character Jace come to life. Like I think Jamie's version shows off this really sassy asshole that we want to see, and then Dom's version or Shadowhunter's version shows off this very like the tortured kind of soul that we see that Jace doesn't always show up, that Jace doesn't always show to everybody. So I just love Jace, and I think he deserves the world and he should be protected at all costs no matter what we do. The next character on this list is Julianne Blackthorne from the Dark Artifices. Now you guys can see a running theme here. There's a lot of Cassandra Clare characters, and if you guys don't know, I love Cassandra Clare's books, so that shouldn't be a surprise for you guys as to the amount of Cassandra Clare characters in here. But I love Julian because he in comparison to his other male counterparts in terms of like the Mortal Instruments series, he's very different. He's very family oriented. He's given up a lot for his family. He is very introverted, unlike the rest who are very extroverted and very sassy. He is very aware of his thoughts and his feelings, and absolutely loves his family and would do anything for them. And you can see how much he's sacrificed, and I just want him to be happy and to be safe and to live his life and just to be with his like siblings, who he ends up calling his children because he's had to raise them since he was like 10. And I just think that Cassandra Clare did such a good job of sculpting this character, and I really am like super excited to see where his character develops and where he goes, because I think that there's a lot of potential for Cassandra to dip into his like his darker self and his darker tones and everything. And I am all about that life, you guys. So like all about it. I want to see dark Julian, but I also want to see good Julian. I just want to see all the sides of Julian, and I will just be so happy with life. So happy. The next character on this list also illustrates how I seem to have a penchant for struggling characters or kind of broody characters especially towards the male side. The female side, I'm not so much, but like the males, I'm so interested in brooding males, and I don't know why. And that is Ronan Lynch from The Raven Cycle. Now, Ronan is an interesting character in of itself. Like, he's like this really scary, kind of intimidating guy, but he also has a soft spot for Adam, and he just has this weird kind of dark sense of humor, and he has tattoos, and he can pull things out of his dreams, and it's very interesting, and I just love him as a character. Anytime he pops up on screen, like, not on screen, on the page, I am just kind of squealing for joy, and I like reread his chapter at least twice, and then go back and then continue on with the chapter. Like, I don't know, Ronan is just one of my favorite characters, and I really want to see more of him, and we are gonna get more of him, so that's even better. And the next two are from kind of like my guilty pleasure kind of read in terms. I started reading the books when I was in Ireland, and I blasted through the entire series, well, most of the series. I stopped at a point because I was like, I can't, I'm just gonna leave it here. But I blasted through it, and I loved every single second of it. And one of these characters that I'm going to be talking about is Maxon Shreve from the Selection series. Now, Maxon is like this perfect definition of a man. I don't know how or why, but he is. Everyone just agrees, and everyone adores him. And if I could compare him to another fictional character, I would compare him to Ben Beast from the Descendant series. Hands down, Maxon and Ben are like so similar in terms of like personality and goals, and it's just, I cannot get enough of Maxon. Like, I will adore him until the end of my days. Like, he's just perfect. Now, the last character in this like list is America from the Selection series. Now, I don't know specifically why I like her. I think it's her spunkiness and kind of this deal she makes with Maxon in the first book, which I'm not going to get into. Just because the deal was just so funny thinking about it, like, but it worked because they both just needed friends, and they both had goals of their own, and they didn't want to do this, but they were kind of put in the situation where they are here, and Maxon has to choose like some weird bachelorette sequence, and it's just funny to me. But I just like her because she has her own goals. She's not interested in marrying the prince of their country. She just wants to be like, she just wants to sing and enjoy life, and she did this on a whim, and here she is, and she tries to make the most of the situation, and she becomes best friends with the prince. Like, how can you not like that situation right there? And on top of that, she doesn't even have to try to win him over. They just become friends, and it just works out for the best, and I just adore it. I do have issues with the series though, and the characters towards the end, but aside from that, I adore them. Maxon is someone I would adore. Like, I do adore Maxon. I would follow him to the ends of the earth. Like I said, he's like Ben. King Ben from Descendants. He's just this precious little child who needs to be protected, and he tries his best. It doesn't always work. And then America is like this weird girl, spunky girl who has goals of her own, and she didn't want to be in this competition. She doesn't want to marry the prince, really. She's just here, and she makes the most of it, and I think it's just the funniest dynamic. But I would definitely suggest reading the Selection if you're into like a weird bachelor kind of guilty vibe. Like, it's a very funny and a very quirky kind of read, and I don't regret reading it. But that is it for my favorite characters in YA. I know there's probably still a ton of characters I could go off of. This was a really hard list for me to even make, even though, like, yeah, this was a pretty tough list, you guys. Like, I had to narrow it down. I had to sit there and go, do I really like this character? Do I not? What do I like about them? And it's just really tough, and I might be updating this in the future. It'll probably get longer before it gets shorter. Let's just leave it there. But that if any of these characters kind of fell within your favorite list of characters from YA, go ahead and leave me a comment down below, and we can have a nice little discussion about it. Hit like if you like this video, and I'll try to have more of these up there. Subscribe so you don't miss anything. I try to post videos every Saturday and Tuesday, depending on whether or not I am sick. But for the most part, it's just Saturday and Tuesday, or Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. But until then, I'll see you guys on Saturday. Bye.